Hi everyone.
Welcome back to the Obituary Stories. Yeah, so let's rewind back to the time when we were children and maybe let's say in a primary school classroom.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is one thing you wish you had learned in the classroom?
For me, I think one thing that I really wished I had as a child was to be able to identify my emotion. It was something that was really hard for me to express. I didn't know what feelings were going through my head, and even then nobody taught me about expressing my emotions. Yeah, if you're sad you just cry, if you're angry you just yell, you just do whatever your body tells you to do. And that was when I realized that it's important to be able to say out what you're actually feeling, because when you know what you're feeling, you're able to tell the world, and then the world will be able to understand you in return. So we have this wheel of emotions, and this was developed by Robert Plutchik.
As a psychologist.
He's a psychologist from America, and I think this is one of the things that we discovered recently, which will be able to help educators navigate the classroom better. And even as a child or a student, you'll be able to express your emotions in a way that your classmates would be able to understand and empathize better with you. So if I had learned this as a child, I think all the adults around me will be able to know what to do in each situation. Like if I were angry, people would know how to respond appropriately, and I would be able to be in charge of my emotions if I was taught how to deal with my own anger or my own sadness, for example, in a healthy way. So I think nowadays teachers are more aware that the classroom might need this as well, so that they are able to empathize with children. And if the teachers are able to identify the emotions correctly, they know how to better address each child's needs.
And I think it's not so much about it's about teachers being able to identify the emotions and teaching children how to identify their own emotions, right? And having reasons for it. But at the same time, I also feel like it helps children to develop empathy for each other when they know what their classmates are feeling and how certain things that they do actually affect them. So in the past, right, there are students who like to borrow things or take things from each other without telling, right? So it's like how I want to see what's in your pencil case, then I will take your eraser without telling you that I'm taking it because I want to try
What's
it out.
this? I want to see.
Right? And then people sometimes, for lack of a better word, the students are not able to say that, no, you shouldn't be taking it. That's my thing. You should have asked for permission. Right? Even asking for permission, children need to learn how to ask for permission. Children need to learn how to ask for consent, right? So what I think this whole wheel of emotions will help children is that they will be able to identify why you're angry, and because then anger has got different levels. Are you just annoyed? Are you frustrated, or are you just irritated? Right? So there is a certain level of emotional vocabulary that I wish that I had learned when I was a child, and I wished that my teachers had taught me that when I was much younger, because as a child I felt like I was really, really shy, and there were a lot of things that I wasn't able to express because I don't even know that emotional vocabulary.
Emotionally damaged.
I hate that word. When I had a tutor, he kept talking about emotional damage. For some reason, I don't know why, some influencers just really have this strong foothold, like with children, because of the things that they say very insensitively, and then children think that it's funny, so they end up propagating this whole idea. But when I asked him, why do you say it, he wasn't able to tell me why he said it. It was just funny. And to me, emotional damage is a big thing. There's a lot to unpack, so I wanted to ask him why he said emotional damage. Then I unpacked the whole meaning of emotional damage. But even then, it was difficult for him to get it, because in the first place, the influencer said it so lightheartedly, like it didn't matter. Yeah, and I was actually
He was so frivolous about it.
I was actually very, very upset about it lah. But in any case, I told my tutor that it's not a funny thing. Yeah. And that also made me come to, like, I recently also had an experience in a primary school when I was relief teaching. Okay, not recently, but it was like at least 2-3 years ago, when there was an emotional outburst in class. And this was a primary 1 class. I was in the class for relief teaching for 30 minutes.
Okay, calm
And,
down, calm down.
and this is what happened. He was so upset after I said something, like, I think he was talking about something, he felt like a failure. Then I said, why do you feel this way about having the F grade? Then he said he failed or something. Shortly after that, he flew into a rage. He went around the class and he picked up a chair. And he acted as though he was going to throw it. And the thing is, I don't want to assume that he's not going to throw it, because what if he throws it? Or what if he threw it? So basically what happened was I didn't want to ask him why he was angry already, because I felt like he was not going to answer my question. And I felt like at that point in time, I needed to address the emotion before I can actually ask him what happened. Like why he was so angry. Because I must have said something that frustrated him, that he needed to kind of vent his frustration on the chair. Then what happened was I got all his classmates to face away from him so that they don't see him. And it was actually also to protect them, because I think he would have been even more angry if I didn't do anything. Yeah, so I did what I could do at that time. I stood in front of him, my back facing him so that he doesn't see my face as well. And then I told him to do whatever he needs to do. Although I was kind of like risking that he might have thrown the chair at me instead. But at least I was kind of like protecting the students in case he threw the chair and the chair hit any one of them. So after that whole incident, counselor came and I addressed the class about how he must have felt very, very upset, and that something must have caused him to feel that way. So at that point in time, even though they were in primary 1, I felt like I need to talk about his emotions so that they will be better able to empathize that whenever any one of them fly into a rage, there must be a reason, and that would also allow them to be more empathetic with each other.
Yeah.
That it's okay to be angry, really, but it's the way we
handle the emotions.
handle the anger.
And especially anger in boys and testosterone, when it comes all at one go, it's an ugly sight to behold. So we have, as educators, we've got to stand up for the class and protect the class. And I think what you did was really good, because you knew you had the charge to do something about his anger, to manage it in a way that will protect all the other students. And even though there was a risk present, a very huge risk.
Yeah, I mean, that was the only thing I could think of, because safety is one thing in a classroom, right? And good thing the counselor came. Yeah, I really needed help because I couldn't leave the classroom. I couldn't. Yeah, and the funny thing was, after the whole episode was over, the next day I saw him during recess time at the playground, and he called out to me, and it felt like the whole thing didn't happen at all.
It felt like it was over already.
Yeah, it felt like he
Nothing
didn't
happened.
remember, he didn't remember what happened, but it could just be,
He's gotten over his anger
Yeah.
in such a quick amount of time.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like the root cause hasn't been resolved.
Yeah.
I really, really wanted to know what the root cause was, because the F grade, the failure, the thought of failure actually really affected him, and he was only in primary 1.
So you can imagine like what happens at home. Probably it's something to do with failing, and how failing is not accepted, and maybe failing has been something probably that was negatively perceived, and thus he reacted this way and is unable to accept and embrace that grade. I think this is something that is very pressing, and it's something that we all as educators, as adults, need to understand and quickly address in the classroom. Because if we address children's anger and accept it and learn to handle it better, then can you imagine the quality of classes? It can be so much better, right?
Yeah, and the kind of conversations we can have with children, because I feel like all these conversations are important no matter how young they are.
And even the younger they are, it's hard for them to articulate their thoughts and to understand their own emotions. The more we have to help them, and the more we have to be equipped to teach them what to do in each situation. And even if they are going through anger, how does a kid know he's angry? How on earth does a kid know that he's upset? We have to show them through signs. Like young children, when they are angry, maybe they clench their fists, or this is a sign of anger. And when teachers identify that, we can quickly point that out to the child and say, hey, you're clenching your fist, I see you're angry, I see that anger inside, tell me what's wrong, tell me what I can do to help you, why you want to feel this way, and it's okay to hug the child and say, I know you're angry, but sweetie, we cannot throw chairs and we cannot behave in this way. Let's figure out if there's a better way to deal with, resolve your anger, and let's talk about it. And I think this trust is so important, because when we build trust with our kids, we trust them, they trust us back. And when they do that, you forge a stronger relationship with your students. And this is how I always perceive the classroom environment supposed to be, because when we have utmost respect for each other's well-being and trust, then only we can conduct our classes safely in an environment which is thriving. And I think as an educator, I really inspire. I really feel inspired to share this wheel of emotions with my children, because I want them to be able to pinpoint which emotion they are feeling exactly, so that they can help others to understand them, so that we can all help each other get through these emotions.
Oh yes, that reminds me. Because, we usually ask our students, how are you, right? I think a better question to ask would be, how are you feeling?
How are you feeling instead of how are you?
Yeah, and also, right, sometimes I realize that when I ask how you feeling, they will also say, oh, or like, okay, no. When I ask them, how are you, they will usually say, I'm okay, right? Or like, I'm tired, or like, I'm sleepy. But I think moving on, I think it will be much, much better if, let's say, our students respond to us with a certain vocabulary that they are better able to describe, instead of going the easier way out by saying that I'm okay, because I'm okay can mean a lot of things. I'm okay is neutral. I'm okay, you are not happy, you're not sad, you are okay. But I feel like there's a lot more beneath that surface of I am okay. So I just really wish that like we have better emotional literacy, not only in schools but even in the workplaces. Like I don't know, I don't know why it makes it difficult for people to say that they're not okay, and that's a problem, right? So
what would be good maybe is to understand whether or not they're feeling okay with their friends. Are they having any issues with their family? Are they okay in the classroom? Are they okay with their homework? Maybe we can like be specific and ask them for each component. Because when you say okay in what way? Maybe you're okay with your family, but you're not okay with your homework. Or maybe you're okay with the classmates you have, but you're not okay at home or something like that. There's some issue.
it's very vague lah.
It's very vague. So if we help kids to specify what areas they need help with, then at least we can go in and help them further. And even for ourselves, when we tell our friends that, right? I mean, I'm honest. I would say, when my friends ask me, are you okay? I say, yeah, I'm okay. I would just naturally respond that way. But if they were to say, is your family okay, doing well? Are you doing well with your parents? That is very specific now. That is very hard to say okay, or it's very hard to just say yeah, okay. You have to explain what you're up to with your parents and what's going on. Or if you are doing well in your career, and that's very much better to ask people than to just say, are you okay?
But could it also be because people just say okay because they don't want to talk about uncomfortable feelings? So the moment I say okay, I know you're okay, so I don't question you further. Because let's be real, I think when you're not feeling okay, you don't really want to say it because you're afraid that people don't. And honestly, when people ask that question, right, they're not actually
fully honest.
No, they are not actually. They don't actually know how to address the not okay responses. Maybe that's a problem also. And as educators, I think we need to be okay with receiving such not okay responses from children and not ignore it, because I think the last thing we want to do and the last thing we should do.
So what can we do then? Can we look at them and say, you say you are okay but your face doesn't show it, tell me what's up?
Either that or like sometimes, okay, so before I answer that question, I just want to say that I've got students who cried in front of me before, and these are boys. And honestly, when they did that to me, I, of course, firstly, was a bit surprised. Okay, it's not just about men don't cry, boys don't cry kind of thing, but I'm actually very, very surprised, but yet at the same time very, very honoured after the whole episode that they felt comfortable enough to cry in front of me. And after that whole crying episode, I sat through with them after crying. When they're done crying, which is usually after some time, then we'll talk about what happened, what caused that emotional, that surge of emotions to lead them to do that. And then that's when all the emotional literacy conversations come about, like what happened.
I feel you, because when I remember having a boy student, and he was about the age of 7, he came up to me and he cried in front of me before the class started. I said, Declan, what's wrong? And he started sharing how he had another class before mine. He said that the coach, his tennis coach, had bullied him along with his classmates, along with his coach mates. And when the coach said that he didn't hit his balls well, like
tennis, right?
Tennis class, and he was insulted. He cried because the coach said roti prata. He's a roti prata, which means a type of food, Indian food that we like to eat in Singapore, and it's not a nice term to call someone a roti prata
because of the way he hit the tennis balls, like roti prata.
Yes, and his friends mocked him and laughed at him and jeered at him when he was playing, and it was very cruel to call a young kid that and to laugh about it. I think as a teacher, you would not approve of that. But somehow, there are coaches that do that. And I could really empathize with this kid, and I hugged him and said, Declan, it's okay, you are not roti prata. Just remember that your teacher was not supposed to say that. I actually told him what he should not be hearing from his teacher, because I think
not acceptable.
It's not acceptable for a coach to call a young child that. So I actually told him, that's okay, your classmates in this class are not going to laugh at you. I promise you that no one's going to bully you here in my classroom, okay? So I protected this boy. I just told him that, when he's comfortable, he can come into my classroom and he can sit down and enjoy the class with me. I'm not going to mock him. I promised him that I was also going to tell his mom about this incident, because no one really protects children, Sometimes these children, they don't go home and tell their parents that they got bullied even.
Yeah.
So I really said, I need to let your mom know. So is it okay if I tell her? I asked for his consent and he said yes. So that day I texted the mom, I wrote an email to her. I just said, your son has been bullied at tennis class. And the mom thanked me. And she said, thank you for telling me all of this, because sometimes he doesn't tell her stories like that. So children actually take on bullying and as part of their life.
Yeah, they think that it's
sad.
I had a student who came up to me and said, like he's used to being bullied, and my heart sank, because no student should be used to being bullied. Yeah, and this is something that we don't hear much. Okay, not here. It's not that we don't hear much, but students don't come up to us and tell us that they're being bullied until we dig deeper and ask them why. Yeah. So this is something we hope that more of us will be able to address in the classrooms, because I realize as educators we have a lot of power, and we really need to feel empowered to talk about this kind of conversations, to have this kind of conversations with our children lah. No matter how young they are.
Especially the younger ones, especially the weaker ones, the smaller ones. I think they are actually not feeling well when they are bullied. You can see in their faces they're not feeling happy. Something's up. And children tend to bully each other without realizing that they are bullying each other. They don't even realize what an abuse is until they get much older. So I must say it's quite critical that we teachers point out that abuse is not accept it, and we learn to respect each other, even if we are different, even if you're weaker than someone else. It's okay, because all of us learn at different places, all of us bloom differently, and it's okay. We have to accept, rather than to expect perfection every single time. And perfection is something that's so hardwired into us. We are always built to be excellent in what we do. But what if we slip up? Can we be forgiven for it? Can we be forgiven in the classroom for it? Even as educators, I find that sometimes when we make a mistake, or when children make a mistake, we are so harsh on them. Can we be more lenient, and can we be able to accept imperfections? And children themselves sometimes put too much pressure on themselves, so I feel that's also quite unfortunate, that they don't even realize that they are overworked and stressed out because they themselves carry that pressure without even realizing it.
Okay, so with that, we will come to the end of this podcast. See you at the next one.
Bye.